Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get a black pencil. And I'm just going to smudge it all over the eyelid. There are different forms of smoky eyes, but the one that we're focusing on today is dark going light. This is just going to create a really nice creamy base for me. I'm going to go back with a synthetic flat brush. Just press this in a little bit more, buff it out. A little way for you guys to get, because you don't want to overpower that, is have her open her eye. Open your eye first. Use this as your guide. When they open the eye, you don't want to take it any further than that. Because when you go back and buff it, it's naturally going to take it up higher. So if you go high already and then you buff it, it's going to be way up here and it's going to look really scary. So be careful. And I do not mind if you guys ask questions during the demo at all. So please feel free, whether it be about my experience or technique, brushes, products. I do not mind.
Does that brush have a number on it?
This one is a 242, I think, from MAC, but there are so many cheaper ones. Don't get so much stuff on the brand, even though I love my MAC brushes. I worked there for a long time, so I was able to get them at a discount. But focus on what they do. Sure, there are plenty of brushes that are going to look just like this one. Yeah.
Does the buffing set it in? Is that what kind of like replacing it?
Well, right now, because it's creamy, if I don't buff this in all the way, when I put the shadow on top, it's going to stop where I stopped buffing. So you put an initial base on first. So then when I go back and blend this, it's going to blend into the initial base. If I don't blend this perfectly, the shadow's going to stop and you're going to see a lot of spotting. The whole thing with blending is so important. You want it to look airbrushed. You want it to look like it just fades upward with ease. You don't want to see any choppiness unless the makeup is a little bit more avant-garde, or we're going to do a fantasy later. You'll see like some harder edges. But this is supposed to just be very blended and pretty. I'm kind of using this to blend. Press it in first. I'm going to go back now with a blending brush and a smaller one. We were talking earlier about using something for your eye shape. If you have smaller eyes, invest on smaller blending brushes so that you could really work them into your eyes. If you have something too large, it's going to take the makeup up way too high. So just make sure when you're working with your customer or your client or on yourself that you're using products and tools that are fit for that eye shape for yourself or whoever you're working with. Look that way. It's a little trick. It's going to help you. If it's uncomfortable for them, put it there first. Have them close their eyes or look down. Actually, look down. And it's kind of neat too. Like, we're still going to do like 3 more steps. But if you wanted to, you could even just rock this smoky eye like that. Go ahead and look around the room, and at least it looks pretty and blended just like that. And we just did one thing. Turn this way. Look down. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack, and I mean pack, a black shadow all over this. Okay, so that's our first step. Because this is a packing brush. Something that's very dense is going to pick up a lot of product. If you pick up a blending brush, you're not going to get that pack look because that's to make everything soft and pretty. You need a dense brush to place a lot of color onto the eyelid. So I'm going to go ahead and load up. Load up. This is a 239 for MAC. Like I said, dense brushes. Because I want this black. I don't want this gray. If I wanted gray, I would use, gray. I want it black. But it's really cool because once you master this technique, you could do an orange smoky eye, you could do a purple smoky eye, you can do a green smoky eye. You could do so many different looks just by doing this one technique. It's just going dark to light. Today, I'm addicted to browns that have a lot of red because to me it just looks very sexy and animalistic, so I tend to go towards those a lot. Don't worry about getting it too perfect because you're going to go and blend it out anyways. So I don't want to blend too much off of the lid. Go and open your eyes. Kind of flip around. So again, using a thin blending brush, I'm going to go and blend that out. This is a very super skinny blending brush. It's going to go and it's not going to disrupt the lid for me. It's just going to go right into her crease so I can buff it. Go ahead and open your eye, look that way for me. So you're kind of doing like a windshield wiper motion, back and forth, and you're gonna start to lift your hand. As you're blending, you're gonna kind of start to go up. You don't want to lift up your brush. A lot of people make the mistake when they are blending, they kind of go this and they put it back in. You're not blending that product. You need to keep the brush in that crease and blend it back and forth, up just a little bit.
What kind of design?
This one isn't, I had a 217 before. This is a 222 from MAC. I call it the anorexic model version of the 217 because this one's a little bit shorter, this one's a little bit taller and thinner. But I like this one because it does not disturb the lid at all. Like I still have my lid super saturated right now. See how black it is? But we still have that blending going upward.
Wait, is it on where you put the eyeliner or just above where you put the eyeliner?
Where I put the eyeliner. So I did an initial base. I did that black liner to really capture that black and then packed it on top. So this black isn't going anywhere. You go to sleep, you want to do a little experiment, go to sleep, you're going to wake up with a black smoky eye. Hey, maybe you could re-rock it, who knows? So normally, I would use a 224. I still might actually go back in there, but I don't want to overpower her eyes, so I'm just going to go with my 217 blending brush. Barely dip it in there. So with blending, you never want to see where one color ends and the other one begins. You want it to just look super faded upwards. So you're going to kind of go over where you stopped. So again, open your eye. I'm just going to place it in there really quick. And I love playing up this brow bone area. I think this looks so pretty. There's certain people who feel like they might have smaller lids, but they have this huge space. Play up your brow bone. It's like to me so sexy and just beautiful. And you really just buff it in there softly. It's just gorgeous. You can close your eyes if you want to. It's up to you. For today, so you guys can see it, I am going to take it up a little bit higher. Make it a little bit more dramatic. Look at that way, but with your eyes look that way. There we go, perfect. Now everybody can see it. It's kind of nice because this color is just kind of peeking through. So pay attention what your customer wants. Some people like a really hard line with their smoky eye. They almost want it to look very cat. So you would take it out a little bit, okay? Blending this way, which I'm probably gonna do today. Other customers might not want it that way. They might want it a rounded smoky eye. So when you would blend down into it, okay? Today I'm gonna do a little bit more. It's okay to overextend it, because you can always clean it. Turn this for me. So what I'm going to do next, is I'm going to go ahead and take the same black liner that we were using earlier, and I'm going to put it underneath the eye. You want to get it as close to the bottom lash line as possible, and you're going to smudge it. Don't worry about getting it perfect because you're going to smudge it anyways. We're just more like depositing color right now from the black liner. Go ahead and look up for me. This is actually a pencil, but I am going to be using a pencil brush soon. And they have so much stuff downstairs. Load up on your brushes. Start practicing because your tools do make a big difference in your application.
Do you want to make it a thinner line or a thicker liner at all?
It just depends on what you want to do. You could definitely make it thicker. I know me personally, I really like a rocker, smoky look. Like I like to look sleepy, I like to look moody, I like to look hard. That's just my personal preference. Today's really bright for me. You're so cute. Or you should model for real. Turn this way for me. So be careful with your formula because if you have a pencil liner and it tends to dry very quick, you're not going to have a lot of playtime. This pencil right here, I could smudge this all day long, it's fine. And then once I buff it, get it where it goes, you know, where it needs to go, then it'll set. And go to a pencil brush, and I'm going to smudge this out. Look up.
Those brushes?
Definitely. These were all cleaned. It took me about a half hour to do these. I deep cleaned them. It took a really long time. You have to, especially after every customer, every client, you do have to clean them, and once a week you want to deep clean them with the shampoo or...
I mean, it's just, if you're
You still want to because you don't want any bacteria building up, especially with creamy, liquidy products. So right now we're just smudging it.
Real quick, Michelle, there is an amazing product by Cinema Secrets. Amazing brush cleaner. I mean, one of the things that I do is I usually like to shampoo and condition my brushes. But when I found it, I learned about Cinema Secrets. It's a brush cleaner. It's amazing. All you have to do is dip it, and it cleans it right away. And then all you do is just go back and forth, clean up, and it dries it in an instant. Sometimes when you shampoo and you also condition your brushes, you have to wait until the next day for them to dry, so you can't use them instantly. If you want to be a makeup artist and you actually have a lot of clients waiting for you, Cinema Secrets brush cleaner is amazing for that because it'll dry your brushes right away.
Okay.
And it's easy.
So what I'm going to do next, not with every person because some people don't like their eyes to look smaller because when you do put an eyeliner on the inner eye, it is going to close it up more. So I personally, I like the black liner on the waterline. I just feel like it looks very sultry. I actually love Asian eyes. I love smart. I just think it looks sexy. I think it looks exotic. There's just something about it. So I've known to do black eyeliner on my top waterline and my bottom waterline because I like my eyes to look smaller. But some people don't. But I'm actually going to do that. So we're just going to put a little bit into the waterline. Look up. It ties the whole look together. Well, I have had some liners that I think recently I just did it with a blue one. It was kind of dry. I just lit it on fire. But this one's really creamy. So be careful too because if you're not used to working with certain products, you're like, whoa, this like lets a lot of products go. Look up. How are you feeling? I still feel like the bottom looks hard, which is fine. I mean, some people are going to want that. I'm actually going to go back with my skinny blending brush. I'm going to smoke it out a little bit more underneath the eye. So I'm going to look up. This already has a little black on it already too, which is fine.
Do you have an eyeliner that you recommend that doesn't smudge a lot? Like once you get it where you want it to be, it doesn't run or just...
I'm obsessed with Black Track from MAC. It's actually a fluid line, and a lot of people like to use it as a gel liquid liner for the top. I don't know if I'm talking on the waterline, but I haven't had any issues, so definitely you would try something out. If you feel anything right away, you'll know if you're allergic to it. But I've used it on the waterline. I've used it as a liquid liner. I have used it underneath the eye, but the only thing is that you do have to work fast. But it's so nice. I mean, you can have a smoky eye all the way down to here, and it's not going to move. It's not going to get into your cheeks because it dries so quickly and it's more water resistant. Everybody has to try gel liner. Just love it so much. So I'm going to look up, buff this out a little bit more. Turn this one. You see how she's starting to look like really, really sultry? It's kind of, check that out. Okay. Some brown that I used in her crease, I'm going to smoke it out further underneath the eye. I just think there's something about it. It looks kind of animalistic, just kind of this color peeking through from underneath. So just a little bit of a reddy brown. If you're really, really good at blending, you really have to master it. You can work out any mistake you want to. I mean, I don't know how many times I've looked at something, that looks so funky, you just kind of step away. You come back to it and you look at it and you're like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. As long as you can blend something out, it'll be fine. Just learn how to blend. Look up, turn this way a little bit. This is really good. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to work on her eyebrows just a little bit. So I'm going to go in there with more of a waxy, kind of a pencil, just because I have more control over it. If you use a pencil and it's too hard, she has very fine hairs on her eyebrows, and if I use something too hard, it's gonna make it look just kind of, she's gonna look angry. So use something kind of waxy, you have more control over it. Just start right here. She actually has a pretty full shaped brows. We're just gonna groom them a little bit, and I like to do little hair motions. I don't mind a dramatic eyebrow, like if it's just one swoop. But if you want it to look really natural, you want to mimic the way little hairs would grow. So in the front, they tend to grow upwards. Towards the middle, they start to go sideways. And towards the end, they start to go down. So just flick little hairs in there. I'll give her a more of a defining tail. Defined tail.
Did you say it was eyebrow color?
This one's actually a taupe from MAC. It's an impeccable brow pencil. They're supposed to discontinue these, so I grabbed like 4 or 5 of them, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna keep them. Thanks. Okay. But when you have certain favorite products, you really do want to load up, because if you're just used to them, I mean, you just feel so much more comfortable when you're doing makeup. They actually have gels and stuff too that you can put in the eyebrows. If somebody had really dark eyebrows, you could use a little bit of a wand to lighten them up without having to bleach them. A little trick too, if you guys overdo the eyebrows, like you put way too much product in them, go in there with a mascara wand, scrape it away, and it'll soften them while keeping the shape too. Go ahead, comb that out a little bit. Maybe add a little powder. So with her skin, she has really, really beautiful skin. So I think I'm gonna work on making it super, super dewy, super shiny, super music video-ish. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fix her eyes a little bit with a little liquid eyeliner. I'm gonna throw some lashes on her, and then I'm gonna highlight her. And when I do liquid eyeliner, I like using the smallest brush possible. Some people feel like they have more control over an angled brush. I feel like when you have an angled brush, sometimes it looks forced. So you can always go thicker, you can't always go thinner. So I say using the thinnest brush possible is just going to be to your benefit. You can use a gel liner. Today I'm just going to do a little bit of a liquid. Before you put lashes on, you always want to do, whether you're using a pencil to smudge it in or using a gel liner, you always want to put a little bit of a something, because you don't want to see the space between the lashes and the natural lashes. So putting this here will kind of give you a little bit of, not cheat room, but it will. So if you don't get them directly on the lash line or lashes, the black underneath it will help conceal that for you. Yeah.
So that's just a black liner.
Mm-hmm. It's going to help intensify your look a little bit too, I think. Turn this one. A little bit more. Can you see okay? So are you comfortable curling your eyelashes? Do you know? Okay. Some people don't. Comfortably, you don't want it to poke the inner corners, but anything that's hanging outside of the eye shape, you want to cut off. I like to start at the outer corner and push inward. Brush the edge of a brush and just kind of push it in for you a little bit more. And the glue usually dries clear. If it doesn't, you just go over it with a little liquid eyeliner. Keep your eyes closed for me while I work. There is all kinds of lashes downstairs, so you guys need to load up. If you guys are becoming makeup artists, you guys need to always carry so many different lashes on you, because you never know what to expect or who you're working on. There are some great ones downstairs. I don't want to go shopping on everything, not gonna lie. And definitely with lashes, it can make or break your makeup. If you're doing a really beautiful soft makeup, so just be cautious. So while these are drying, go ahead and just keep on looking down. I'm going to work on her highlight. I'm going to start working on her skin. And I might add a little bit more black. So I'm going to start working on the skin. Let's see. And I want to make her skin super, super shiny. I just think that it looks really youthful, especially because she has perfect skin. You know, if you have really big pores like I do, you don't really want to show those off. So, be cautious. A little bit more moisturizer to get rid of this black underneath the eye. I'm actually, just so that my kit wasn't super heavy to carry today, I'm using concealers and I'm shearing it down with a little bit of moisturizer. You don't have to take every single thing you own with you. You want to make your life easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix these together. I'm going to add a little bit of stroke cream because I want her skin to look super shiny. This is really good for brides. There's something called stroke cream from MAC that actually has a lightening agent in it. So if you have any spots on the face, like acne scars or old freckles or something, it's going to help lighten those up. So I want to give her super, super shiny skin. That's what it was actually inspired by, was backstage lighting for stage and stuff like that. Put this in a little more. I'm actually going to go over her lips as well, just because I am going to give her a nude lip. So might as well get it started. You have a tan line for new glasses. How cute. Sorry, girl, put it back. Turn this way. Does everybody feel like this was super easy, just like the 3 steps on the eyes? You could definitely bump it up and put like a 4th color in there. You know, we could add a little bit of a tear duct as we go along. If you want to make it pop more, instead of doing that orangey brown in the background, you could do like a hot pink, a little bit of a purple, just to funk it up a little bit. This to me is just like a classic smoky eye, but you can definitely take it wherever you want. Always take that extra time just to blend downwards a little bit. It takes you like 10 seconds. You do not want to see the difference between the neck and the face. I think her skin looks really pretty and shiny. So let's check on these lashes. Turn this way. Open your eyes. A little bit underneath the eye. I actually like using a blending brush. A lot of people like using synthetic brushes to put on the concealer with. I don't want your concealer, and you shouldn't want your concealer to look packed on. You want it to look whipped on. You want it to look really soft. You don't want to see the product underneath the eye. You just want it to blend. So I'm trying to take the same product I was using. Look up for me.
Do you do that last?
I like to. And if I want to add more like shadow or something, I can. And let it set a little bit. They have some that are so thick and heavy. Like, there are so many things out there.
Does each line like carry something like that?
Yes, they do. Every line has something that's really, really heavy. So Kat Von D has her tattoo cover. Cinema Secrets is known for having like really, really heavy concealers. When you first start out, I mean, I know when I first started doing makeup, I couldn't afford everything, so I would invest on, I think it was like Vincent Cahill. I still have it to this day. I don't even know if they still make this, but it was so nice because I had every single shade of foundation pretty much in this little palette, and you just scrape it out. These were really thick. In the beginning, I would actually invest on maybe something heavier because you can always shear it down if somebody has really natural skin. You don't want to like have, you know, all this lightweight stuff for, you know, someone who doesn't need it, and then heavy cover. It's just too heavy for you. Make your life a lot easier.
There is a brand out there too, ladies. It's called Dermablend. Amazing. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's amazing.
What I'm using next is I'm going to bronze her and contour her a little bit. I like working off of this. Turn this way. Kind of at the top of the ear, you want to take it down, or you can actually even feel the bone where it sinks in. Just kind of draw a line there. Then we're going to buff it as well. Add a little bit to the temples. gonna get an angled blush brush. I like to contour with this a little bit, just because it gets right in there for me. Let me soften this. You have to be really careful with highlighting and contouring, because you don't want to see any hard lines. Unless you're doing like drag queen makeup, then by all means. Turn this way, please. It's kind of cool because we used the liquid, so you can't really, didn't even really get in the makeup, the tears. If you used powder, which you want to save for the end, a little bit of shimmer right on top of the cheekbone. And like I said, be careful of what you're using based on your client's skin. She doesn't have any pores, she doesn't have any texture on the skin, so she could pretty much wear anything she wants. But if you did have somebody with a little bit more textured skin, you might want to stick with creams. You could even use foundations to highlight and contour.
This is the highlight.
Now I'm going to add her blush. It's just going to fit right in there because I already have my highlight there, I already have my contour. Just add some blush. Do something a little peachy. And smile for me. And yes, these are the apples of your cheek. When you smile, this is the little chubby part that comes up, that's the apples of your cheek. So I don't like to rub it. I feel like it's going to give me a really 80s look, so I like to actually press it into the skin. I mean, I love the 80s, okay, don't get me wrong. I love it, but you don't always want your makeup to look so 80s. Put it up, and I'm just going to kind of buff it out a little bit. And like I said, you could definitely make this super, super dramatic. I mean, I've done smoky eyes where the black was all the way to the eyebrows, you know? Oh, goodness. Okay, so I'm going to actually do a nude lip on her. Kiss. Okay. Sorry, I had to do that. And I really like when you apply it directly onto the lips, it's going to hug every single crevice. It's any little dryness on the lips, it's going to grab. When you do it with a lip brush, I feel like it glides over more. You're going to get a smoother application. Another tip too, if you have somebody with extremely, extremely chapped, textured lips, not only condition them first, but apply a little bit of a gloss, and then mix the lipstick on top of it, and it's going to come out a lot better. It's almost going to act like as a coating for the lips so that you're not hugging every single ridge and every little dip and everything. Lips are so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of shine now, a little gloss. I hope you're taking a lot of pictures after this. So I'm going to go and highlight her now. Her underneath her eyebrow. Withe. And maybe a little bit of something to its tear ducts too. You know, I think we could go a little frostier than that to show it off a little more. I'm actually just going to pick up the same thing I highlighted her cheeks with because it was so frosty and intense. Just add it to her tear ducts here. Tear ducts. It's a really good way to just open up the eyes. You can, And then if you wanted to too, with certain people's eyes, you want to smoke out the outer edges, and you could even bring the light eyeliner underneath the eye, and it's really going to wake them up a lot.
A light eyeliner underneath.
There actually has like some that are champagne colored or just white, and then you would press into the eyeliner like a champagne color, a pearl color, any kind of shimmery color that you have, press it into the white eyeliner, and you get that really nice look. Just gonna blend that eyeshadow underneath, and of turn this way for me, please. Go to 224. Remember I was talking to you guys about a 224 brush? I have a hard edge right here and I want to blend it out. Very simple. Just go over it. A very nice blending brush. Alright. Finish. How does everybody like it? If you guys have please feel free to ask me. If you guys would like to come up and have a look. By the way, everybody, if you guys get a chance, go check out the Ruby counter downstairs. They are doing some amazing things.